And welcome back to Terrafirmacraft episode 2. So on today's exciting episode, I want to start thinking about castle layout down here. And the truth is that I'm going to be doing a lot more work outside of the area of the castle over by where this green dot is where I've marked home. Because I think I just build a house there, kind of get me safe, get me going with resources. There's a little bay here where I can do farming. There's rivers and stuff, which is cool, next to where the castle. So I'll start developing that area. And, there's little fields where we can do stuff. This field here, I can put trees, and there's a lot of minerals. We could probably do a copper mine or something. But in general, I think that's kind of the game plan. I did have a little issue with sound, so you're not hearing any audio of the sound effects. That will kick in just a minute. But I'm dubbing over this because frankly, the music was too loud, and I'm going to have to work with that because I didn't bother to check when I recorded in the first place. So we have a few moments of time here where the sound is just going to be me talking rather than the actual game sounds, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. So here I'm just chopping down trees and we're just kind of going along and clearing out an area to begin our base, our little starter home, if you will. The beauty of these Douglas fir trees is that I get a lot of wood for them, and frankly, I don't feel guilty about chopping them down without producing a sapling to put in there as well. The reason I chop down all these trees right away at first is both to get building material and clear out the area so that I know kind of what the area looks like and how to best build in it. But it's also for the purpose of dealing with mobs. If the trees are down, you can see the mobs from farther away. You can have a better open field to fight them in. And frankly, you can probably prevent some of them from spawning, I would imagine, with shadows and whatnot. But either way, it's a good thing to do. And the sound is back. But yeah, I'm just going to get a couple more trees. Then we're going to dig up a whole bunch of clay. And then we're going to start making stuff. And I'm excited to start making stuff. I tell you what, exploring is fine. It's fun and stuff, but it is really nice to start settling down in this game. It just feels like you're finally home, you're finally able to get something accomplished and start building, wealth, which in this game, wealth really takes the form of natural resources, food, minerals, and stuff, just stuff you build. Even a shelter would be a form of wealth in some ways. Okay, so I've got a whole bunch of wood, and I've just been stacking it. TFC has this excellent wood stacking mechanic where you can just shift right-click it onto the ground and build a wood pile. And then you can select it with something besides wood, and you can start to, you can just fill it using the interface here by shift-clicking other logs into there. And I'm just kind of building this giant pile of wood. Okay, so let's go with that and that. And we have 8 left over, so we'll do a partial. And that's coming along, and we have got plenty of wood. We actually have this little patch of clay, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and dig every single molecule of clay I can find up at this point. The idea here is we want to really stock up on clay, straw, and then I'm going to get some dirt as well. There's 2 reasons for this. One is we're going to make mud bricks. Mud bricks are added by the decorations mod, and most of you know about this, but and then I'm also going to start making my cellar immediately. One thing that I've experienced in this game is that if you wait to start making your cellar, you can sort of shortchange your growing season a little bit because you're hesitant to harvest crops because they'll spoil. And that really makes a difference in your first year of settlement because this is the year that you're most vulnerable in many ways, and so I'm just carving a little chunk around these clay blocks so that I know where the clay ends and the dirt begins. We'll probably do some terraforming eventually anyway, so I'm not too worried about the shape of the mountain here, or of the hillside here. But anyway, yeah, you need clay for your cellar, you need straw for your cellar, you need clay for mud bricks, you need straw for mud bricks, you need clay for pottery, and pottery is going to be a big deal at first as well. Oh, and one thing I should mention, even though it's more of an advanced thing, I'm always on the lookout for graphite. Graphite becomes probably the most important non-metal in the game pretty quickly, or at least for some things. Certainly for advancing later in the Iron Age it is, but it's also great because you can make a pottery kiln and you can make all sorts of other things, and so it's just really handy. We are still in the Stone Age though, so it is a bit off before we're going to need it. And in the meantime, it should be noted that because we're still in the Stone Age, we must rely on conventional pottery techniques until we are able to get a saw made. By the way, this biome is marble, as I noted earlier, so, I mean, the marble cliffs. Why is that dirt? See that difference in texture? Oh, it's because it has grass on it. Is that it? I don't know. Yeah, all that's the same. Anyway, I'm just gonna try to get all of this clay while I'm here, and that way there's no question about it. I think what I'm gonna do though is flatten out the area near where my farm is gonna be and dig out the lake. I'm not gonna be able to get all this without another shovel. And you know, I really should put a pit kiln in before it gets dark. So let's make another shovel. Anyway, I was saying I'm going to dig out the flat area near the lake, expand the lake to a giant square, and eventually plant crops right in the lake. It's a technique that I learned from another YouTuber called GrimCore, but it's a really effective and efficient way to farm in this game, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so, and I probably will fill in a little bit of dirt down here, but let's go ahead and make a pit kiln to get going here. I'm going to make 4. It might seem excessive, but you do end up needing a lot of pottery early on in the game. And I've got a bunch of dirt that I'm just collecting as well. So grab your clay and let's start out with 4 ceramic vessels. This is the recipe as you know. Just like this with the 4 corners. Okay, and then we're gonna do, should we do, I need at least 1 more large vessel, probably 2. I'd like some bowls. Bowls are made like this. Let's do 4 of those. Those are used for gold panning and for salad. And I guess I'll make some more of the, well, you know what, screw it. I was going to make another water jug, but I can do that at another time. I think I want the large vessel more. Then you take your straw and you fill this up. I mean, I showed you this on a previous episode, so I don't need to talk you through it again. But we got plenty of straw. That's half the stack's worth right there. And then we'll need 32 logs. So 2 stacks of logs. Fortunately, we have tons of logs. I got rid of my fire starter while I was exploring. It was taking up space in my inventory that I wanted to use for more important things. So I'll just use a torch to get this started. Just put the torch right on the ground like so, and we'll wait. So that'll be the beginning of my pit kiln. That'll really help establish this as home. We've got 1 large ceramic container that's full of seeds over here. And we do have the water jug there as well. More cabbage right over there. I might go harvest that at some point. But I suppose, and it does seem like the spawn protection is kicking in because things are spawning, but they're spawning a little bit farther away. So that's good. I'm sure I'll have to deal with some pests throughout the night. And fortunately, because we're not loading new chunks, we're not getting any lag anymore, which is excellent. But I'm just going to clean up the rest of this clay rather. That way, you know, it's just all in my possession. As I said, this is wealth building, essentially. This is getting stuff. This is making my existence more palatable. So we're slowly filling in this hole. I think I'm just going to go up to that layer. And then essentially I'm going to dig this hill out and dig all this out too. This is going to be a huge lake that is square, and hopefully it'll be big enough to support my farming. Farming, I tend to like to do one plot of 16 per crop. So that's just something to keep in mind once we get going with the farming. That's what we'll be doing. I'm just grabbing some of this dirt here. It is dark out. Let me see if I've got my video. Yeah, I've got it fairly bright. Hopefully you can see it. It is a little dark though, so I apologize for that. But when morning hits, we'll really start doing some building and stuff. I'm going to build a wooden house to begin with, as you might imagine. Pretty standard thing, but with all the Douglas fir. Douglas fir is so good. I just love it. We are very far north, by the way. We're at 13,725, even farther north than we started. And I haven't built this far north in a TFC game for quite a while. So I'm concerned about how long the growing season is going to be. On the other hand, food decay will not be a huge issue. If the growing season is prohibitive due to the weather, then we will have to migrate, I suppose. There are some crops that are better at growing in northern climes than others, though. Like potatoes, I think, are pretty good, and green beans. So who knows? Maybe we'll create one fortress here, and then we'll move south and create a farming village. Who knows? We'll just play it by ear, you know, organically. And if you're playing along at home, you do whatever works for you. This is your world. You're gonna have fun playing, regardless of which altitude. If you have a southern altitude, good on you. You can get chickens easily. You can get sugarcane more easily. And if you have a northern altitude, you tend to get other resources like berries and stuff. So there is advantages and disadvantages to both. I'm really looking forward to the winter up here. The snow is going to be beautiful, and the ice is going to be plentiful, and I'll use the ice and snow for resources as well. It is the summer, though, as you can see by clicking on your inventory and clicking this timer. Early summer, it's June, and even though the air feels cool and rainy, I still think that most crops will grow. The one that won't probably grow very well is sugarcane, but we'll have to see. I guess I'll fill in one more later. Yeah, we'll have to see about the sugarcane. So yeah, basically, we're just killing time until the mud brick, or the rather the pit kilns are done. I did turn off the audio again because the sound was coming in and it was too loud. So that'll be cleared up soon here. But in the meantime, I'm just getting another shovel, doing some terraforming here. I love the terraforming; it's just so therapeutic. And yeah, I mean, I think you could almost do this as a full-time job. Just taking dirt from one place and smoothing out areas where it's rough, you know. But we're going to make some mud bricks now. Mud bricks are dirt, clay, and straw. Put it in a shapeless crafting grid. And you get this kind of looking block here. Now, the neat thing about these, first of all, they look really neat. And second of all, they are non-gravity blocks, so you can use them building pretty freely. They look okay. Different minerals produce different blocks. So these ones look okay. We're going to go ahead and wait for those to dry. They take a few hours. grass. Oh, and our clay's done. Nice thing about just doing pottery without doing metalworking is that you don't have to worry about the metal cooling down. Boy, this is a little bit of a situation that I found myself in here. Maybe if I go over here. And you'll constantly want to just hover over your food and push D to clear off the decay that happens. There we go. And let's get some dirt now. The straw is so ubiquitous that it'll, first of all, it keeps coming back, and second of all, there's just a ton of it everywhere you look. So don't worry about using up all your straw. You're always going to have that. See, the zombie tried to follow me and got stuck in the water, and that's a good way to deal with them at this stage in the game. I'm just shaving down this little cliff face here. That helps with, makes this land a little bit more useful in the future. And I need the dirt anyway, so why not? Okay, that's probably pretty good there. And then I'll shave this down. Looks like we might, well, I almost thought I saw a berry on those bushes. Not yet. Cranberry's good. Raspberry, you gotta keep in mind, will hurt you if you step on it. I have a lot of bushes, though, all things considered. Okay, so let's make another set of mud bricks with the resources we have here. And obviously it's day now. I always like to check to make sure we're still recording. Okay, so I'm just going to put these right here. And if those mobs try to attack me now, they'll probably die from sunlight. Okay, so there we go. And Mr. Zombie, your time on this planet is limited. Okay, so that's good enough for mud bricks. I'm just gonna use up the rest of my shovel on this dirt over here. I'm gonna be terraforming it anyway, so you might as well. I still want to fill in that hole a little bit and then start thinking about farming already. But we'll probably have to deal with the pottery situation first. So let's just fill this in as much as we can. Okay, coming along nicely. And then let's grab our pottery. So got this one, and we'll put this here next to this one. Let's make this a second seed. So these tend to be greenish and yellow seeds, and then we'll do the white and red seeds in this one, and brown. Okay. Now I could use this one for water, but I think I will use it as storage. These large vessels are your best chest analog in the early game. So I'm gonna put a bunch of that and that. Things you don't need. So I'm gonna put some of my metal in there, put that guy in there, put my regular Minecraft torches in there. We're gonna start using those soon. And that is probably pretty good for now. Okay, and then let's I'll put these down along here. These are all empty, and I think these are all empty too, aren't they? No, this one has metal in it. You know what, I'm fine with it. I'm just gonna put that there to remind myself that it has metal in it, though. And then we'll just put the other empty ones along here. Oh, I should put the peat away. That peat is neat. You know, it's rare for me to come across something in TFC that I'm not extremely familiar with, but that's definitely one of them. Okay, so there is our stuff, and then we will go over and grab our bowls. Now, we could do some panning, and the truth is, I will do some, but not as much as I usually do because I have so much copper in this game. So I'm going to put 3 of these down. And I'm just going to put one in my inventory like that, convert it to a gold pan, and then you got to find a beach to do panning, but I'll show you real quick. Grab my water too. Set that down to save inventory space, but now that I've got plenty of pottery storage, I'll just grab that back. What we should do is we should probably get our quest book out and start doing quests. So let me just do the teeniest small amount of land. The landscaping is therapeutic, I gotta tell you. It's kind of like real life. There's something very rewarding about making the land more suitable to your needs. I don't know what it is, but nice thing about gravity like that you just saw, it kind of works for you, so it will actually save you time when you do this. Okay, so that should be good there, and then let's go down here and put the rest in here. And this might actually be almost exactly enough. Perfect, and then we got 5 more. There. Okay, so with that, let's go do a little panning. And my Alexa, my Echo Dot, thought I was talking to her. Okay, so in order to pan, oh, we got another dirt somehow. You need a bowl like this. You need sand or gravel, and it has to be sticking out above the water. I right-clicked on this block there, and then I removed it so I could get the flowing water. And you just right-click on the flowing water. You have to right-click on another sand block or gravel block every 4 little animations cycles, but you can easily do that by just moving back and forth like this, because then you just right-click on the water, and you can just hold right-click and just hover over each necessary block like this. And it works out pretty well. We're not getting much so far. This is merely for demonstration purposes. I really don't need anything from the panning. I mean, if you could get iron from panning, that would be something. I'd probably use that maybe to get started with iron, but, well, maybe I wouldn't, though. For iron, you really want rich ore. You don't want nuggets, and this just gives you nuggets. But anyway, you get this little stream going because there's like a chance, I don't know what the odds are, that every time you right-click on the sand block, it'll remove the sand block from the game. So you gotta watch out for that. And you gotta watch out for something called the chunk getting overworked. That just means that you've exhausted the resources in the area, and the game is telling you should move on. I don't mind using up these sand blocks, even though it looks kind of funny. We're going to be digging this out anyway. Man, I think I just got one. Yeah, so that's what you're getting. You're getting this native copper and platinum. The game used to give you gold. I think they stopped doing that. See, now it says the area seems to be overworked, etc. So that's your indication that you won't get anything else from your panning, so you'll stop. I think what I'm going to do is just correct the landscape a little here. And we're really just building a little edge to this lake here, just making it smooth. Alright, so let's build a little house. I think actually I could use this little crater as the basis for my house. I would need to fill it in with dirt first. I think I'm going to do some hardcore terraforming off camera, and I'll join you in just a minute once I've done a whole bunch of work with the dirt around where I'm going to build this house. So I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. So I did about a day and a half worth of work here, and what I did was I filled in this hole. I put a little bit of indent into this hill, and I made it so that if I want to start farming along here, there's going to be room. I'm probably going to do a similar thing that I'm doing over here over on this direction, so we can farm fully along here. But these were in the way, and the other thing is these minerals are in the way, and I kind of want to be thoughtful about that because I don't want to waste those. So, but I went through about, I don't know, 10 shovels probably. I also removed a lot of dirt from this general area, a little bit over here. Also, while I was removing dirt around here, there were some blocks that were kind of suspended, like this one that you can see right over there, or that one there. And so when you remove adjacent blocks to a suspended stone block, it just pops off as the stone block. So I ended up getting 5 marbles, which is a lot more than I thought I would. So yeah, so I'm pretty happy about what we did there. And that did take a day and a half in game, so not too long, but long enough to. I'm glad I did it off screen. Got a little bit of extra wood from chopping it, just a couple trees down over here, but so we've got a ton of wood, to be honest with you, or at least, you know, what appears to be a ton of wood. I think I'm going to go ahead and start building the house now. Okay, so let's start with the pillars now. Do 5 high. Okay, and then let's see how far long we want to make this. How about, I don't want it to be too big, because I don't want it to interfere with the farming, so 4 and 5 is the equivalent there, and then go right here. Now, the nice thing about the Stone Age in this game is that even though you can't use planks yet, you can still use these logs just like this, and you can use them to your heart's content. If you can collect them, you can use them. So it makes it pretty easy to get up a nice frame of a house like this. And fortunately, we just have a boatload of wood here. So, we'll complete the frame here. And then, you know, for the roof, you could do a number of things. I typically would use straw. I don't have a lot of straw right now, so I'm going to hold off on completing the roof. Okay. Are all the rest of these full? Yeah, I guess so. Oh, this one's not. Okay, I'm just keeping track of the ones that aren't quite full. Okay, so I always gotta remind myself to get that. Yeah, the air feels cool and damp. That's not. I'm not optimistic about farming up here. In fact, I might just plant some test fields. The farther north you are, obviously, the shorter the summer is, the less intense of a growing season you have. Let me just grab that cassiterite, just so I have the space to work with here. I'll use it eventually anyway. But yeah, so for farming, you want to, you want to have an area next to your lake or whatever that's roughly 4 deep. And there's a whole thing as far as if you're adding new dirt near where you're going to be farming, you have to wait for the grass to turn green so that the soil has nutrients. In this case, all the grass that I'm going to be using has been here for a while, so it's all going to be full of nutrients, and that's fine. But I kind of got sidetracked when I was building the house there, so we'll have to go back to that at some point. But I do want to experiment. You can push M while holding the hoe. Okay, so here we go. We have got water on all of these. This one does not have water. Incidentally, if you break a dirt block that's been plowed, you don't get a replacement dirt block like in vanilla. So just keep that in mind. But we basically, that tells us that we can go 4 deep. I've been sectioning off places where I determine salt water is. Over here, I added a strip of dirt, and I'll probably do one laterally now. I know there's salt water in this body here, and so I think if I segregate it like this, I can test out this body here and see if there's any salt water in here. So that's salt water, that's salt water, that's salt water. It's all salt water until I get to... Wow, that's all salt water. Okay, so it's fresh water over here, but it's all salt water in there. I know that there's a lot of fresh water along the side of this one too, so it's just a matter of narrowing it down where the divide is, and then starting to manipulate things. I don't know how optimistic I am about being successful at this effort of desalinating the area. I know for a fact that sugarcane's not gonna succeed up here. It might allow me to plant it technically, but so squash looks good. Sugarcane, it's too cold. It straight up tells me too cold. Melons look okay. Soybeans look okay. Jute's gonna work. That's very important. Bell peppers, okay. Gotta deal with the zombie real quick. Okay, so let's finish this task. I'm going to try the rye. Each crop has a little bit different temperament, and some do better than others growing and thriving in cold climates. I think I mentioned that earlier. So I'm concerned about how this is going to go. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 left that I can work with. The sooner you plant, the better, generally speaking, although, again, in climates like this one, sometimes that doesn't matter. And then there's some other crops that I don't have yet, so... But we'll see how this goes. 2, 3, 4... I only have 2 potatoes, but I know those are going to do well. Tomato, let's see... And garlic. I think I had room for about 3 more. These zombies are really annoying. Okay, so we're just putting the rest of these crops in real quick, and some good grains there, and some onions. It'll be nice for stew. Okay, and that's a pretty good farm. Or at least a good starter farm. It's not it's not a huge farm, and it will eventually get to that point, but right now it's a pretty basic farm. I love this ItemPhysics mod. Makes those things like really tumble when they get popped and then they rest on the ground. It's so 3D. It just makes everything feel so 3D. Okay, there we go. So we've got 2 stacks, and you just put them in a little 4 formation like that, and you get your mud bricks. And I've got 2 stacks. For each mud brick you create, you get 1 mud brick block, but you have to use 4 others to get it. So okay. Door in there. The door there. And a door right there. Okay. So let's do the doors. Frame those up real quick. The marble mud bricks actually look fairly okay. Some don't look that good. Like, I was working with one not too long ago in a different playthrough, and boy, it looked like crap. But these ones look okay. They're kind of muddy, but that's mud bricks, you know. We'll leave that for maybe a window or something. And probably gonna need more. Just to leave that for a window. I got 2 more. Yeah, I definitely need more mud bricks. Got some more mud though, and I've got plenty of clay, so I just need more hay. I think I'm gonna call it an episode though. It's been a long episode. I'm gonna go off and get a crap ton of straw from grass out in the fields and stuff. So on the next episode, we'll pick it up there and we'll continue our journey. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.